sure this is recording. Perfect. When we started off this business, we started off a little bit slower to get going with things. Because at first I wasn't sure what I was doing, if I wanted to do this. I really just dipped my toes in. And finding out now that's like one of the worst things you can do, because it made my organization look crazy. And when we went to this placement and Elise was sharing with us how these placements should actually be done, because they've done it. They've done it almost 3 times now to Presidential Diamond. She taught us these little tips and tricks and things we shouldn't be doing, that just a light bulb went off in my head of, oh my gosh, I've been doing it wrong this whole time. I need to fix this. I need to make sure my team knows this so they're going into it correctly and they never have to feel this way that we feel right now, knowing that we need to start over with some of the stuff that we've done. So I'm going to I want to make sure, can you see this right now?
Yes.
Perfect. Okay. So tonight we're going to be talking all about placements, what you should do, what you shouldn't do, and how to pre-qualify someone when you do sign them up so you know where to put them in your organization. That's one of the biggest frustrations I've seen with people having, is that they start to assume someone's going to be amazing at something particular, and so then they get really frustrated when things aren't rolling along like they thought they should be. So the very first thing that we should talk about, and actually before, I'm not going to have anyone on mute right now, just so you guys know. So if anyone wants to speak up, they can, but just in case it gets noisy, make sure you put yourself on mute, just in case. So our very number one goal for placements, because anyone guess what that would be? Why would you want good placements? This little image kind of gives it away. Pretty much the most important thing when it comes to placements, you guys, we want to free up more time. That is the goal for placements. If you just started putting people anywhere in your organization, the exact opposite thing is going to happen. You are going to get bogged down. And I'll show some examples in a minute so you know exactly what I'm talking about. But you got into this business for financial time and family freedom. Do we not? We wouldn't be doing this as a business if we didn't want those things. Otherwise, we would just be sharing oils with the world and it wouldn't matter and everything would be great. But we are in this as a business. So we need to make sure that we're doing that we're freeing up our time so we can have that financial time and family freedom. And there are so many different theories out there. You guys, I've watched them all. I've put them on our Facebook page of cool ideas that I thought, oh my gosh, this makes so much sense. But I'm here to tell you guys, as we were talking with the Sheddies about this, they straight up, I'm going to jump off that just for a minute. They straight up told us the biggest thing when it has come to, I'm going to do this really quick. Awesome. The biggest thing when it comes to building your organization and how many theories are out there, all of them are wrong. You probably saw the one where the girl builds one after another stack. There's another theory out there that you put everyone on your front line so you can manipulate that placement as you hit Presidential Diamond, but they say none of them work. They've done all the numbers. They've run all the numbers for everything, and that it doesn't matter how you shake it. This is the only way to do it to maximize to the fullest potential. And what it is that you build for depth, for stability, and you build width for wealth. So that is the goal when we're doing placements. We want it to be deep because that makes your organization stable. That's what's going to make it so it's going to last for years out there down the line. Your width is what builds the wealth. And this is why. This is the example she gave. And this was absolutely eye-opening. If you sign someone up as a diamond, I want you guys to think about it. What's that worth to you? What's that worth a month in average unilevel if you were to sign up a diamond? If they are on your front line and they're a diamond, it's worth to you $10,000 a month. That would be your unilevel. And again, these are averages of when they calculate out the money. They are geniuses at knowing how to calculate and doing the math on all this. So it's really fun to hear their insights with what they know about these things. But get this, you guys. If you place this same diamond that you have enrollership of on your second level, it's now worth $5,200 to you. On your third level, it's $2,600. And on your fourth level down, it's $1,400. That's what their unilevel amount would be worth to you. Guys, that's a big, big difference depending on where someone sits, how close to you. This is why placements is so important. And I want to put a little parenthesis there. Again, we do the best we can with what we know, because sometimes you never know how something's going to shake out. You never know if someone you put down 4 levels down is just going to take off and they're a complete rock star, which is amazing. In this business, you get compensated no matter what, and it's incredible. However, if we can do a little bit of work beforehand to see where they're going to fall, what they want to do, what their goals are, think how much more potential and what that could do even for your business and for the attention that you can give to them just from where you place them. So the first thing that we always have to do, always, when someone comes to us and says, okay, I'm ready to get started, I want to do things, you need to ask them if they want to live, share, or partner with you. Guys, the reason why this is so important, why it's a crucial conversation, is that we have to find out where they're going to fit best so we know where to best place them, because we never want to assume. A lot of times what happens is that maybe you'll sign someone up and say they're already in the health and wellness field, and you think, oh my gosh, they're going to be incredible. I'm going to put them on my front line because they're going to do so great. And then all of a sudden, they don't do anything, and you get frustrated because you're thinking, why aren't they doing more? They would be incredible at this. Well, guess what? It's because we assumed. We never straight up asked them where they see themselves fitting. And that's where this frustration happens. And we need to ask them if they want to live, share, or if they'd want to partner with us to be able to do that. I met a lady 2 weeks ago, and this is a perfect explanation of why we ask people. You guys, she had signed up 400 people in her doTERRA life and said that she did not have one person doing the business with her. Not one person was partnering with her out of that 400. And guys, this lady is incredible. She's dynamic. She's fun. No wonder why she signed up 400 people. But guess what the one problem was? She never asked anyone. She never asked where they fit. They had no idea. They probably still don't, but there's a business attached to this. So we have to be able to present that. So when you're talking to someone, it's going to sound a little bit like this. Just so you know, just so I know the best department to put you in to get the most support with the oils, I'd like to go over the 3 kinds of people I love working with to see which area you fit best. You're going to start with Liv. So Liv is someone who just wants to use the product. It's going to sound a little bit like this. The first kind of people I work with are people that want to improve their personal health by using essential oils. And the smartest way to do that is by having your own wholesale account and ordering through the loyalty rewards program. So you can start incorporating essential oils and natural health products into your family's everyday life and get free product for doing that. Then you'd move on to the second kind of person, which is a sharer. This is someone who just wants to share the product. Now, this is a place that you need to make sure you don't get stuck on. Sometimes sharers like to say that they want to be builders. This is a little bit of a harsh reality, but this is where it really falls down to. These are people who want to build, but they don't want to pay the price to build this business. Because as you're building this business, we all know, it's not easy. It's a lot of work, but there are amazing, amazing benefits that come from it. But when you hear of what you potentially could get paid, how doTERRA works, you can't help but get excited. So there are people out there who's going to say they're a builder, but they're actually a sharer. But when you're asking someone where they fit, it may sound a little bit like this. The second are people who start using the oils and have an amazing experience, like helping with head tension or seasonal discomfort, and they can't help but share their experience with others. When you start sharing your experience with others and people wanted to get started with oils, you're able to get yours for free, which is a great perk. Now, the third type of person is a partner. These are people who actually want to partner with you and become essential oil educators with you. A lot of times we call them builders. I like to call them partners because that's exactly, to me, what every single person I sign on is. They're a business partner. We're doing this together. So it's going to sound a little bit like this when you're talking to them. And lastly, are people who feel that pull towards wanting to do exactly what I'm doing and become an educator. By doing this, they can either supplement or completely replace their income by educating other people about essential oils or integrating essential oils into their practice or existing business if they're a business professional. I love putting my time, talent, and resource into people who want to become a business partner. Where do you see yourself falling into those three paths? Now, you need to make sure you always ask which path they want. It's good if you ask it in classes and always, always in wellness consults, because there are a few things that come with it. When you know where someone and what path they fall into, you're going to know if they're better to be a wholesale customer or a wellness advocate. And really quickly, I want to go through what the two differences are so everyone's very clear when you're asking someone the three areas they want to fit so you get their account right. Now, a wholesale customer, these are perfect for people who want to live and share doTERRA. They perfectly fit into a wholesale customer best. These people can't have a downline or get paid. Now, the reason why I say a share falls into this, because they may want to host a few classes and get paid, but chances are it's not right away. And so that's a crucial conversation you'd have with them. Well, how quickly would you want to do that? How quickly would you want to host a class? They may tell you, oh, like in a few months when I get used to my oils. Awesome. They're a wholesale customer, because those people, they all have access to all the perks that anyone does in doTERRA. They can be on loyalty rewards. They get wholesale pricing. They get access to all the promos, and they still count towards your power of 3. Even though they can't have a downline, you can still stick them in spots to help with your power of 3. You get 14 days to move these people, one time only. Then they are stuck there forever. But if they decide at any time they want to do a class, or maybe they start using the oils for a few months and they decide they love it and they want to build with you, they can upgrade their wholesale customer account to a wellness advocate, and you get an additional 14 days to move them if it's after 90 days, if it's after 3 months when they first sign up. So think about that for a minute. If you have someone who's not sure, they think they want to partner, but they want to use their oils a little bit first, you sign them up as a wholesale customer always, because they can upgrade at any time. Now, when someone upgrades after the 90 days, you get 14 additional days to move them. If they upgrade before the 90 days, they have to stay where they're at. Again, this is where communication, that's all it takes. Communication comes into place. If you are talking to them and they decide they want to start building and they have 2 weeks left, awesome. Hold them off from upgrading their account and get them sampling and prepping for classes and getting them all the lingo and everything worked out. And then they can hit the ground running. Now, a wellness advocate are people who do get paid. They can have a downline. Again, they only have 14 days to be moved, just like anyone else, whether they're brand new or signing up as a wellness advocate. You get to move them just one time only. And these are your business partners. We just need to discover which type of business partner they are, of where they're going to fall. Now, I've had lots of people in the last 4 years who've told me, I want to do this. I want to be a business builder. I've placed them just off of, I want to do this. And they didn't end up doing anything. And that's okay. Everyone's path's different. But it's because I didn't qualify them of what kind of partner they are. So there's 2 kind of partners. First one is committed. And the next one is capable. And we're going to call them CCs, closed caption. There are C plus Cs. They're committed and they're capable. Now, to be committed means that you are dedicated to a cause, an activity, a job, and you are wholeheartedly dedicated. These are the people who show up to everything and they do everything that they're told to do. You can ask them to show up to a class and bring whatever, and they will be there on time, no problem. How can you tell if someone's committed? You're going to test them. You have to give them a task when they first start if they want to be a business partner. First, the one big reason why it's so important to give them a task when they first started is because they're excited. And you need to help them keep that momentum going because they are excited. So a task to do to see if they're committed, ask them to make a list of 100 people. Pretty easy. Doesn't mean they're going to contact all 100, but you want them to start jogging their brain of people that they can think of who could be blessed with essential oils. And so if they come back to you the next day with 100 people, you know you have someone committed on your hands. Now the next one is capable. What does that mean? These are people able to achieve whatever one has to do. That means they're very competent. These are people that we talk about that have that X factor. They're the ones who, regardless of what they're doing, people want to follow them. They're influential. People want to know what they're doing. And chances are, they're not even going to want you to place anyone underneath them because they have this. They know exactly who they want to contact. They know exactly who they want to place places. These are typically the characteristics of someone who's very capable. How can you tell when you test them? Ask them to share and sign someone up off their list without giving them much coaching. Because chances are, when they sign up with you, they are naturally already have a sign up ready to get started with them. Because they're the kind of people that if they start to do something, everyone wants to do it because they're influential. These are the two kinds of people, capable and committed. So what I want you guys to do is, at this point, just kind of take a personal inventory of yourself. Where do you fall? Are you committed? Are you capable? Which type of person are you? Now, for anyone sitting back and thinking, I'm not capable or I'm not committed, here's the hard part that we all need to decide is that if we're not either of those, how can we expect to attract those kind of people into our organization if we're not that kind of person? But we can become that kind of person. It's definitely a bleeding process. You have to work on it. You have to become it. But you can become that person you want to attract, but you have to start today. And if you want to be that person, decide today that I'm going to be a capable and a committed person. I am all in and I'm going to be the best person at it. Ways that you can do that. The first one is just showing up. The fact that you're listening to this webinar or you showed up to this webinar shows me that you're a committed person. If you're willing to show up to these things, that's what makes you committed into the long haul. Personal development is a really big one. You need to start working on yourself from the inside out to start attracting those people who already have that X factor. Mastering the basic skills. Now, this is a really big one, and these are just the simple basic. Sample, following up, wellness consults, recruiting, and learning that script that I just talked about at the beginning of this webinar. A user, share, builder, the live, share, partner roles. That's what you have to memorize. The next one is action. Are you someone who takes action on things? When you think of something, do you do it? When you think of someone who needs that sample, do you automatically run out and get it to them? Be that person of action. And the last one is you need to start acting as if. This is my very favorite one. If you want to start attracting those people, these CC people, start acting as if you're already one of them. Start acting as if you were already a presidential diamond. One of my very favorite things I learned from a business coach once is that she kind of explained to me that you don't become influential when you're a diamond. You become a diamond because you were influential. So start acting as if you are already influential and that you're already there. So there's always a but to this. And some of you may be thinking, but there are some people that I've talked to that are super awesome and they could be both. Here's the issue, you guys. Their actions will show you what kind of builder they are. Don't go off someone's potential. It's not the same thing. Like I talked about at the very beginning, you might sign up someone who's totally into health and wellness field. They might be totally capable, but they're not committed, and you know they could be, but they're not right now. So they're not either. They're not going to be your capable and committed. You may have someone signed up and you've been dragging them along the last couple of months thinking, I know they could be amazing. They have the most amazing potential, but guess what, you guys? They're not either of those right now. We're not going off potential. We're going off actions. That's what creates a CC partner. So here's an example of how this would play out. And this is how most people's organizations played out when you very first get started. This is what you do if you don't follow this placement advice we're talking about tonight. Remember, our main goal is to free up time. We want to make it so we are doing more abundance with our time by not having to spread ourselves as thin. So what happens is that we do a class and we sign someone up that's like, oh yeah, I want to build with you. I totally want to do it. But guess what? They end up being more of a sharer. So I have these S's, CCs for committed and capable, and single C's, which means they might be capable or committed, one or the other. They're still great people, but this is what happens. You start filling things in, and you put that person on your front line who also, on the left-hand side, if you look, they also sign up someone who is a sharer. 2 sharers, someone who's committed, 2 more committed people. Well, guess what this work has just done for you? When this committed person needs help, are they going to call on the sharer to help them? Probably not. They're going to call up you. Same with the sharer who's underneath the sharer. Do you think they're going to necessarily call up their upline? Probably not. They're going to be calling you. So instead of having one person that's on your front line that you're mentoring, you now just gave yourself 5 people you're mentoring. So I want you to look over this organization. You can see that this person did it twice with 2 sharers that maybe said they wanted to be builders, but they did not pre-qualify them. And then their last leg was committed and capable, and they are thriving and growing. And that person only has to mentor that one person. But she has 2 other legs that each have 5 people each, that she's now spreading herself thin. She is mentoring 11 different people. So she is mentoring almost a double presidential organization. And this is what makes people burnt out. This is what makes people, when they start to do this business, they start to think, I'm a terrible mom, I'm a terrible dad, only trying to hit silver. That presidential diamond must be the worst parent in the world because I know how thin I'm spread right now. But it's because we're not placing in a way that frees up our time. So the first lesson, never, ever, ever build under a share or a user unless you are willing to spread yourself thin. Unless you're willing to give up your time extra to do that, because that's exactly what's going to happen. I want you guys to look at, when it's done right, what exactly it looks like. If you sign up 3 capable and committed people on your front line, you're only mentoring 3 people because those people are capable and they can mentor their own people. And you can put single C's underneath them in different places on their organization and help them with that. So you went from trying to mentor 11 different people and running yourself into the ground, trying to do and help people with 11 different classes every week, or all these different things. You put people there that help ease that burden and free up that time. And that's the whole point of why you're doing this business, is to help people and to free up that time so you are available to help people. So you might be thinking, but Jules, I've been doing this for years and I haven't found any of these magical CC people you've been talking about. I had a real deep look inside myself when I had first learned about this 2 weeks ago, because I was sitting at dinner and Elise was across the table and we were all just kind of talking, and we were talking about this concept, and she straight up looked at me in the eyes and she just told me, you know why you've been holding on to the people that you have? It's because you don't have the faith in your capability of waiting for that person. You don't have the faith that they're going to be coming along, and they won't, because you're not out looking for them. And that was it was kind of a hard thing to stomach at first. And I just kind of went quiet thinking, you know what, you're probably right. You're probably right that I haven't been having that faith in things. Are we becoming that capable and committed leader that we have enough faith that we're going to attract them? And this is another big part she said, is that are you living in a place of power and confidence or fear? Because you're not going to be attracting those people. If you're living in a place of fear that nothing else is ever going to come, so you're trying to latch on to anyone or anything that may be coming to you instead of doing it the smart way. Because when it comes to this, and when it comes to finding those CC people, recruiting is your number one skill set. So if you don't feel comfortable with talking to people about the business, start getting comfortable. If you don't feel comfortable asking them where they fall into those 3 categories, start practicing that script at home. Start practicing it, rewrite it into your own words until it can feel natural. Because one thing she said, if you're stuck, you're not willing to work. Because they're out there. And there are people waiting for you. Maybe they've even been praying for that opportunity to come along to help them out of where they're at. But if you're not out there talking to them, you're going to remain where you are and you're going to remain stuck. But if you're willing to go out there and work, it's going to happen. Are you willing to wait until you find your unicorn? Now, to me, you guys, CCs, it's funny, we've always called them our unicorns, and we signed up some new builders, and I found them calling their builders unicorns, and I absolutely loved it because I just thought, that's why we're a good fit. We're on the same wavelength. But I remember when I very first started this business, I had no idea this person that I had signed up was a total CC. I didn't know how to pre-qualify anyone the way that I know now. But she ended up being a total unicorn, a total CC. She hit the ground running. She did one training. She asked a few questions. And after that, she didn't need anything else. She ran with it. And she's absolutely incredible. And I know a lot of you are even on her team. She's just the most fantastic person. And I learn from her every single day. I absolutely love her. But what really struck me one day is that I was mentoring a different leader. And we were talking about some ways to kind of get past this block that she had. And she said to me, and it kind of, to tell you the truth, it really hurt my feelings when I first heard it. She said, if you hadn't signed up that unicorn, would you even be making money right now? And I thought, wow, maybe I'm not worthy of this. Maybe I don't know. It made me have to self-reflect on myself. But here's the deal, you guys. What I found, what was the most interesting is after this happened, that leader kind of stopped doing stuff. But guess what? I didn't. Because I am committed to this. And I'm working every day at being more and more capable. Because I want to be that CC type of person that after that conversation a few months later, guess what? Another CC person came into our life, another unicorn. Because it is the small things that you're doing every single day that help attract that person to you. Because I am refining myself to become more like that person. Are you guys in this for the long haul? Are you willing to wait it out and to have that faith that that person is going to come into your life? Because I truly believe every single person is a unicorn. I know we talk about how they're not real. Well, you know what? They completely are. And every single person listening to this, you have the capability to become that person, but only you can do it. Now, a side note I want to add to all of this, just kind of you see the big red X across it. Never, ever, ever do this, you guys. Never take from someone else's team as you are trying to find your committed and capable and builders to go with things. You guys, I've had this happen to me. I've had people come to me and ask to switch to our team. And as much as possible, I discourage it at all costs. I let them jump in our trainings for free. I let them join our Facebook groups. because I want them to stay where they're at. And this is why. If someone comes to you and they want to switch teams, they have clearly told you they believe it's not themselves that's responsible for their own success. Let that sink in for a minute, guys. If someone comes to you and wants to switch teams because their upline isn't enough, because they don't feel like they're getting enough attention, because no one's placing anyone underneath them, they're not taking responsibility for their own success. And chances are they're not going to do the same. Now, if you are on this webinar and you have switched teams, this isn't to make you feel bad. But today is the day that you are going to take ownership for yourself. You are going to fire your upline. They have nothing to do with your failure or success. You are responsible for it. If you don't feel like you're getting enough training, get on YouTube. There are so many videos on there on anything that you want to learn about doTERRA. There are business leaders who do Q&As every single Wednesday. Get on those Q&As. Ask your questions. Reach up further in your upline. If you don't feel like you're driving with your immediate upline, then keep reaching up further and further. There's always someone there, but today's the day. If you've switched, it's time for you to just take control of your own business and your own structure. Now, what about building for power of 3? This is really interesting. I've met some people who told me that they just build for their power of 3, you guys. And this is the problem when you do that. You are giving up something long-term for a short-term gain. Remember that diagram I showed you that had the share, and the committed and capable person on your front line? What if that was the first class you did and you put those people on your front line because you thought, awesome, I'm going to get $50. And look how much more work down the road you created for yourself. This is my own personal take on it all, you guys. Only build for power of 3 with committed and capable, or someone who's committed or capable people doing the business. Your power of 3 will naturally happen. I have some people that beat themselves into the ground trying to make sure they get that power of 3 every month because they didn't do it with actual builders. They did it with people that had no skin in the game, that had no difference either way what happened. And sometimes they were placed in such a key place that their entire $1,500 power 3 crumbles. Remember, this is a bonus. The $1,500 power 3 is a bonus. So treat it like that and build with your committed and capable people. Let's talk about the timeline of a new builder, just so you guys know realistically what this takes. It takes 12 months to build a leader. You will be committing 12 months of hand-holding, mentor calls, etc. to each new builder you bring on. So if you aren't doing it with committed and capable people, remember, you times your work by 2 to 3 for every person who's not committed to what they're doing. Don't do more than 4 legs at a time. This is full-time work. 3 legs is a little bit more like part-time, but it is a lot of work. And leaders become more self-reliant after the rank of gold. That's because after the rank of gold, they have 3 premiers underneath them who also have their own leaders. That's really the first leadership rank in doTERRA, is at the rank of gold, because those premiers, the first leadership rank is premiers, because you've now said that you have 2 leaders underneath you, and that's when the empowerment bonus kicks in, because that's when you really start to build this business. Okay, we're gonna go over the 4 biggest placement mistakes that you can make. Now, there's always exceptions, but these are great rules to follow. And before you place someone in a spot, you at least have been warned of what may be lying down the road. And I hope there are exceptions out there. There totally are. But the first number 1 rule is don't put a product user or sharer on your front line. It's more work. It takes up more of your time because you've tripled your work. So I hope everyone understands that from all the other stuff we've talked about. Don't put a user or share on your front line. Place them lower down in your organization. So a question that a lot of people like to ask, what if I'm brand new and users and sharers are the only people I've signed up so far? This is why that when you begin doTERRA, you have to have many, many classes in your first 2 weeks. If you guys haven't seen the webinar, you need to go watch it. It's by Diane Shepard. She's the one who originally started with this. It's called Elite in 6 weeks. The reason why you do this is to find those committed and capable people to go on your front line when you very first start, so you don't have this problem later on. You need to get more people into your pipeline, introducing the live, share, partner idea of how things work, so you can launch big, you can launch quick, and success loves speed. So your number 2, don't place family on your front line. That's a hard one to stomach, I know, for a lot of us. The reason why you don't do this is because you can't keep them accountable. Your family dynamic is so much more important than any business could be. Your family relationships are so much more important than being frustrated or angry or bothered that they're not maybe working as hard as you are. So what you need to do is solidify yourself, and then you can go back and help your family. And how you do this is that you place them to lower. So maybe you have a builder who's committed and capable, or you have one that's just very capable or committed. You can place your family members on their front line. So then you don't feel like you have to keep your family accountable, because family's way too important. You want to help them, but make sure you do it in the right way. Number 3, don't place for rank over location. Always place people in the same area together. Let me tell you guys why. Take this example, that if I were to sign someone up in Toronto, and I already have a big team there in Toronto, but I really need to fill a gap on another leg, so I'm going to drop this person in my Utah leg. Well, now that person in Toronto has no support. They're competing with the people who are already up there, and they can't join forces with the people who are already on your team. When you place people in their same location, it frees you up because it gives you more free time. It helps them feel more supported and more powerful in that area. And just know more people are going to come along. And really, all in all, you shouldn't be starting a new area without someone who's committed and capable in that area already. So if you are really going to take that person in Toronto and put them on a different leg without any support or anything, you better make sure that they're committed and capable, or it's not going to work and it will fall apart. And I've had it happen in my organization a number of times where I've signed someone up in a new area, a new state that I had no other team members in. And after a little bit of time, they kind of fizzled out because there weren't other people helping them, because they weren't double C's. They were committed, but they weren't quite capable yet to do that. So remember that rule of thumb. Don't place for rank over location. Place for their location and keep people together. And number 4, don't separate relationships. Keep family, friends, and coworkers together. They have the same relationships. It creates competition, and it really starts to hurt relationships. And again, there's always exceptions. This is just a general rule. I know in my own organization, my family leg goes pretty deep down, but now they're all working together. If we have a class at my top family member that's on the top's house, they all get to invite each other because they're all on each other's team, so they can invite anyone to that. So remember, try and keep relationships, family members, coworkers, try to keep them together so they never feel like they're in competition with each other. And that's so important when it comes to the culture of doTERRA. Now, just a few things on enrollership. Enrollership, just so you guys know the difference between enrollership and sponsorship. Enrollership is who signed them up. Sponsorship is where they live in your organization. You can rank advance on anyone you personally enroll. And enrollership always goes to the person who invited that person to the class. So if me as a leader am teaching a class and you invited someone to my class and I taught them and got them signed up, it's still your person because you invited them. And that's how we work in doTERRA. It's your enroller. But here's the cool part, you guys. If you invite them, hold on to enrollership till you know how things are going to turn out, because you can rank advance on people on your lower levels if you have enrollership of them. So let me show you how this would work on a diagram. Now I'm the person in red, and anyone circled in red, I have enrollership of. So just take this first leg on the far left for an example. I have enrollership of him, and I place someone underneath him, and I place someone underneath someone else. Well, my first guy, he's working on it, he's doing things, but if you look 3 levels down, I had no idea that person has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 leaders underneath him who have exploded. He is going for it. And I'm trying to hit silver. I can actually, because I have enrollership 1, 2, 3 levels down of that guy, I can still rank advance. They don't have to be on your front line. In fact, you can have more than 3 people on your front line. Sometimes people don't work out and we have to build a brand new leg, which comes to the last part. You may have been doing this for a while and you listened to this and you thought, oh my gosh, I've made so many mistakes. Guys, that's exactly what I thought when I first heard this. I thought, how do I fix this? I've already made the mistakes. You guys, we're going to go through a few ways how you can fix these mistakes. Now, the number one thing you can do is just build a new leg. And I know that sounds really scary to some of you. I know that sounds scary to go out and find a new builder, because remember, we're living in a place of fear if we feel that way. We're living in a place of scarcity if we think we're not going to find that person. We are. It's harder to resurrect the dead than to just give birth again. So remember, it's okay to build a new leg. Now, the second one is that you could ask for enrollership of someone that you've been mentoring. Now, sometimes on your team, maybe you've been building under a user who's no longer ordering on LRP anymore. They happen to show up to that person's class, get signed up, they're building the business. The person above them isn't even getting paid anymore because they've stopped their LRP. This is when it would be appropriate, if you had been mentoring them, to ask for enrollership, because at this point, that user isn't benefiting anymore, it's holding you up. That's an option, and it's to be taken really lightly, because again, we talked about you always hold on to enrollership. That's something you can ask for. You can transfer in a new leader. What this means is that, say you have a leader who doesn't want to do it anymore. They're burnt out, they're done. They feel like it's not for them, and that's totally fine. But in the meantime, you've placed people and you've built an organization. doTERRA has something called a transfer form. And it's where someone who is brand new to doTERRA can transfer in to that spot, or a wholesale customer in your organization can transfer in to that spot. Now, when you transfer in to a spot, you need to test them first before you transfer, because I've had this happen on people's teams. They transferred in a new person and that new person did nothing. They didn't do anything, and they were given this whole team. So an example of how you test someone, have them bring 2 to 3 new builders with them to be able to transfer into that spot. If they are committed and capable, they will be able to bring with them people, because you're giving them an incredible gift by signing them into a team that's already set up. So test the person first. Another one is a swap. This is when someone directly underneath you can swap places. This is the easiest to get approved. Truthfully, I keep racking my brain for circumstances where anyone would do this. It's an option. And some people I've seen it come across my desk where they want signatures for it to be able to try and get this approved. So that is an option. And the last option, and I'll tell you guys the truth, this rarely gets approved, are exceptions. This is when you get signatures from 7 people up your upline, from 3 people up your enrollership tree, to change someone in your organization and move them places. Now, this goes before a committee in doTERRA. It takes months, I found, to even get anything through, and 75% of them are a no. I see probably 4 exception requests through my inbox, yeah, probably even more than that, every single week that they ask for me to sign off on, and the majority of them get told no. You guys, back up to the very top one, build a new leg. Sometimes that's what it takes. We have to start over again. So right now, what I am going to do, I'm going to do a stop screen share for a minute, and I want to unmute you guys.
Ah, that's so scary.
For this last little bit, does anyone have questions about anything? Because I had you all muted for that just so we could get the recording. But now I just want to open it up. Did you guys have questions about any of that when it comes to a committed and capable leader? Are we still recording? It is still recording, just so anyone who's not on. Would you guys all feel more comfortable if I stopped the recording?
I'm neutral.
I think so. Okay, so I'm going to stop the recording just so anyone who listens to the recording later, that's the perk of being on live, you guys, I guess. Let's see, can you please share slides with us later? I can't write fast enough. Leah, you got it. I will share the entire slide deck so you can have it. So, bye everyone who's watching the recording.